Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in this video we'll be talking about a slightly different topic. We're going to talk about my experience in terms of trying to make a mid-career transition and how was the experience of once I get the CFA and the CAIA charters. I did not get yet the charter. It is pending. But once I get these designations, what was the outcome basically in terms of the applications that I did as I was trying to make a mid career transition. And so this is just my experience. All right, this does not necessarily apply to each and every one of you, but the objective is just to give you just some insights that you may need to consider. And also if you find that my experience somewhat relates to yours, this is something that you may also need to take into account in your decisions, as you also probably, just like me, you want to make a mid-career transition into the field of investment, into the investment industry. Just to give you a brief context of my experience. So my background is basically I have a bachelor in economics and a master's degree in finance, and basically for years, even when I was doing my master's degree, I was always very drawn to the fact that I wanted to do equity research. I love going through the annual reports of companies, understanding the financial statements, really getting a feeling of the economics of the company. And so for me, it was always something that I really wanted to do. And that's what I had in mind when I got into my master's degree, which is basically what I wanted to do as a career. But once I finished the master's degree, probably because at the time we were, you must keep in mind, we were in 2011, Portugal at the time had just was going through into the initial stages of financial bailout, which our government at the time asked for. And there were not many jobs opportunities, especially in the financial industry, as far as I can remember. And so there were no opportunities available that I could find to get into an equity research role. And so this was on one hand. On the other hand, due to my personal circumstances, I did not have too much time to wait for those opportunities to come. I needed to find a job relatively quickly, and so at the time I got an offer from the Portuguese Central Bank to go to join their risk management department. This happened even though when I submitted the application and I went through the stages of the recruitment process, I always made it pretty clear that I wanted to join their markets department, in which they manage their reserves and basically do some portfolio management. And so I always made that clear as I was going through the process. But for some reason, probably because the risk management department had less staff, they decided to allocate me to the risk management department. But nonetheless, they told me that later down the line, over the years, there would be further opportunities for me to move across within the organization to the markets department, as certainly opportunities would come. However, as years gone by, no opportunities ever came. And so for me, it came to a certain point in which I decided to leave the organization. But at the same time, I decided to register for the CFA program, because I felt that I needed to catch up a little bit on the experience that was necessary to make that transition to an investment-based role, such as equity research, and that's why I decided to go for the program. At the time, so as I already mentioned in previous videos, I fully dedicated myself to that objective or that purpose, to getting the charter, so that I could basically make that transition. And so, unfortunately, once I managed to get the charter, even though I applied for many roles within research, also portfolio management, but that's a little bit more difficult because the investment career usually begins by equity research, and unfortunately I did not manage to get a single interview, probably because of the years that I already accumulated of experience in the field of risk management. And so for me, the charter at that time, once I finished, basically did not help me too much in that regard. Even so, I was somewhat positive, and I decided to go for the CAIA, the Chartered Alternative Investment Analyst. Not only because of the increased interest in terms of the alternative investments that are currently ongoing in the investment industry, but also because, as you probably know, the CFA charter holders are able to get the CAIA just by sitting for the level 2 exam, and so through their stackable program. And so even so, I was optimistic that perhaps with the CAIA I would get some sort of edge in the job market. However, even with the CAIA, I still could not get a single interview, despite many applications through all sorts of roles within the investment industry, but with a focus on equity research, investment analyst, basically. And so no doors were being open for me, and the fact that I was not being able to get a single interview, for me it was revealing that, all right, I can get what is going on, I can understand what's going on behind the scenes, because for example, if you are an HR recruiter, and so you have a role to fill in and you receive dozens of applications, of course you're going to consider first and foremost the candidates which have a solid experience and a formal experience within that particular role. And so because I did not have that formal experience, I only have experience doing research for myself and also for other individual investors that I work with, but this is some kind of informal activity. I would get, of course, behind the queue, as I should say, in terms of my chances to get this kind of roles. So basically I can understand from the perspective of HR recruiters this particular outcome, but the thing that for me that began to kind of making me wonder and thinking, is this all worth it, where is not worth it, is that on other applications that I did for basically risk-based roles, which is basically what I've been doing throughout my professional career, is that on more than one occasion there were applications that I did, and on more than one occasion I ended up being eliminated from the recruitment process because the recruiters felt that my curriculum had too much of a financial bias due to these certifications or professional designations than what they were at the time looking for. And so for me this was a little bit of an eye opener, and so the best value that I can give to you guys is several takeaways from my experience. Is that first and foremost, making a mid-career transition into a different field is very difficult. It is very difficult, at least for me. It is being difficult because you will be lagging behind. You will be falling behind candidates with experience in that field. Another takeaway, which I think is very important, and you can also imagine, is that all else being equal, formal experience and solid experience trumps professional designations on their own. And so this is basically the main message that it was conveyed to me, of course, because I feel that I fell behind even more, I fell behind even of candidates who, even though did not have professional designations such as a CFA, they basically had more chances to get these roles just because of their experience. And of course, I was only equipped with a professional designation and no solid experience. Another takeaway is that on a few occasions, as I already mentioned, professional designations can either help you by giving you a sort of a wider knowledge for some roles, but on the other hand, it can also hinder you for other roles in which recruiters are looking for a very, very, very specific set of skills. And so by having professional designations related to the field in which you want to make a transition, all right, it can give the feeling that you are being less specialized, specialized, and you are a little bit more of a broader knowledge-based person. And so that may hinder you in some recruitment processes. Another particular one, which did not it applied in a few ways for me in the beginning, but as I moved abroad, that became a non-issue, is that you must consider whether it is worth it to devote your time, much of your time and much of your effort into getting designations to make a mid-career transition, all right? Especially if you have a demanding job and you have a family to look after, if you have a spouse, if you have kids, especially kids at a very young age, you have some sort of family commitments in which it will make it much more difficult for you to juggle all the balls in the air while are you trying to prepare yourself for the CFA exams or any other professional designations exams, all right? And this is extremely important because many times candidates may arrive at a particular crunch point in their preparation and they feel that I'm not able to do this because I have a very demanding job. It's not particularly a 9 to 5. I have to put in a lot more hours, or I have a family of young kids, and I have a spouse which requires a lot of attention for some reason. And so at some point something's got to give, and it's very important that you consider all of these factors before you commit yourself to embark in such a journey. Another one which I think is also extremely important is that as you can imagine, you can put in all the effort you want, and you need to put in the effort up front to find out whether you are able to make a career transition, but you have no guarantee whatsoever that you'll be able to make it. But yeah, basically you need to put in the effort all up front to make to see if there is a chance, which is a kind of an ungrateful proposition, but yeah, basically that's the way it is. Now, I must say, and of course, I don't want to take this in a negative light, all right? It's just the way it is. But nonetheless, the CFA and the CAIA designations are great designations. I do not regret at all having worked for them and having achieved and having passed all those exams and all the work that I've put in. I do not regret that at all, but of course you can imagine that this the expectations that you set for the outcomes when you get those designations may fall a little bit short. But nonetheless, you must keep in mind that these are great designations to have, and the wealth of knowledge that you get from them is tremendous, and it will certainly help you in your financial decisions throughout the rest of your life. In my case, it had helped me not only in my personal financial decisions, but also in the decisions that I make in terms of the research that I do for other individual investors. And so I think it has benefited me, it has benefited other people, and that's why I think that's where these designations really shine in terms of their utility for the charter holder. Nonetheless, it's absolutely key that you must remain realistic about your chances of getting basically the role that you want. Other thing, which is also I think that is important, is that you must consider the possibility that even if you make the transition, all right, and if you are fortunate enough to do it, chances are that you may have to accept a lower compensation to get that role, because you have relatively less experience for that role that you had for the roles that you had at an earlier stage in your career, in which you had built a continuous momentum of knowledge and experience in your field. And now that you are transitioning into a different field, of course, recruiters will pick up on that and will, in many occasions, offer you a lower compensation. That's why I would always recommend, if you work, for example, in a large organization, that's the best scenario for you to make a mid-career transition, because it's easier for you to transition into a different field within the company, and for the most part you are very, very likely to at least keep your compensation at the level it is when you make that transition. That's probably the best scenario for folks that want to make a mid-career transition, is to being employed by a large company which has many business segments, including the one that you want to transition in. And then even if you have to work for a few years in the field that reflects your entire career, you just try to apply and make the chances, so to speak, happen, and make your best and do your best to make that transition across the company structure. I think it's probably our best chances. I am unable to do this at this very moment, but yeah, that's what I would recommend to all of you. Another thing which I think is also important to consider is that this is kind of difficult to explain, but because it sounds a little bit strange, but if you have already one designation and you are already, because basically you want more designations because you will feel that for some reason it may give you a better chance to get that particular role or make that transition, you got to keep in mind that you may not get the results that you want even if you get additional designations. And why is this? Because professional designations works as a signaling mechanism, right? And so if a recruiter sees a CV, all right, and he sees that you are a CFA charter holder, for example, all right, not only the HR recruiter that you realize that you have a particular set of skills, all right, in terms of the technical knowledge of the curriculum of the CFA, but it will also get some insight in terms of your personal characteristics. The HR recruiter will know that, or at least will have a pretty good idea that you are a determined person, you are a very dedicated person, you are committed, you are driven, you are willing to put in the work. All right, and so these are all very good impressions for you to have when you are vying for any kind of job. And so if you, for example, being a CFA charter holder, you go for the CAIA, then you go for the FRM, the Financial Risk Management designation. These designations will have a marginal decreasing value. All right, the benefit that they will bring to you, of course, it's always positive, but it will be less and less and less as more designations you get. And why? Because that signaling mechanism is already conveyed by having one designation. If you have more, all right, the HR recruiter will know that you already have that characteristics of that technical knowledge of the CFA designation, and you also have of the CAIA and also the CIA, and you also have of the FRM. But probably also because many of these topics of these designations overlap, the value that you will get it becomes marginally lower. And also in terms of the signaling of who you are as a person, it will not get necessarily better. All right, one designation is enough to know that you are determined, committed, and dedicated, and you're willing to put in the work. But additional designations, what would they tell? They tell that you are extremely dedicated, extremely committed, extremely driven. It does not give you any benefit, and many times it can also happen that too much of a good thing may turn against you, because it may sometimes give the impression that basically this person wants to collect designations, and probably because he wants to get so many designations, you'll probably devote less time and less attention to the role itself. So you end up being hindered in your chances for the role just because you have a never-ending stream of designations. And so I would say that it's probably not worth it, because the effort you will put in, the hours, the dedication, the time you will commit, it will not be worth it in terms of the value that you get. If it's the first one you get, I'm sure you'll get tremendous value. The second one, probably, it depends on what you really want to learn, but additional ones, yeah, if you really want to have that kind of knowledge, I would never say don't go for it. You should do it if that's something that you really want, but be mindful that may sometimes work against you in applications for jobs, and you must always keep in mind how are you going to be portrayed in terms of HR, because HR people are super experienced, and yeah, they want, basically when they get dozens of applications, they just want to eliminate most of them to a short list, and so any flaw that they find in the curriculum will be enough to eliminate you. So I would say, and I would suggest, don't be eliminated by this tiny but important detail. And basically that's it. I think this message is conveyed clearly enough for you about the value of these designations for you to make a mid-career transition. In my experience, it hasn't worked so far, but that doesn't mean that for other folks it didn't. And I'm sure that for some people it actually worked out all right, and they got what they wanted. But yeah, this is just to share my experience for you to keep in mind that, all right, the grass is not always greener on the other side, and sometimes, yeah, you may become a little bit disillusioned, and you must probably adjust your expectations. But yeah, that's pretty much it. If you, as far as I can tell, at this very moment, the comment section is not yet activated. I'm gonna have to get in touch again with YouTube to see what is basically what is going on. But feel free to get in touch with me on LinkedIn. I leave my LinkedIn, the link to my profile down below, and so feel free to get in touch with me and share comments, insights. I will be more than happy to help you out in your journey towards your success in terms of your career. All right. Thank you so much, and have a good one. Thank you.